Okay, so we're going to look at how I built a deck today. This is a follow-up to my previous video on my 3 tips of deck building. I'm going to implement those tips in here. What I really want to focus on are the 3 steps. My tip 3, I said break it down to 3 steps. 1, the rough draft, right? We're going to use a word processor, make the rough draft, and then we're going to take the rough draft and we're going to put it into Moxfield.com or Architect, whatever you like. I use Moxfield, so we use bulk edit to put that in, and then we'll fill in some more gaps and add some synergy. And then step 3 is when we make the final product. We should have almost the whole deck. I think I actually had too many cards, so I had to narrow it down, which is a pretty good way to go, right? But step 3 is where you troubleshoot. You look at what are the weak points. Also, what's the plan, right? You know, make sure you take out any cards that are not synergistic, that don't help out a lot, and just have the real meat in there. And yeah, we're going to see what do we need to win, right? What's our win condition and how do we get to it? So we're going to add things like tutors to be able to efficiently and effectively go get our win cons. Oh, and before I completely forget, please hit like and subscribe. Okay, I'm going to look here. Again, this video is all about implementing my 3 suggestions from before. I am building my final deck for the color challenge. This is my Abzan. Abzan is actually my favorite 3 color combination, so I think it has a lot going on. Golgari and Orzhov are my favorite 2 color combinations. It's basically those 2 put together. So can't complain about that. Anyway, as I said in my video, which you should check out if you haven't, I'm going to make a lot of reference to that, so I will put it in the description if you haven't watched that yet. Maybe watch that before this, otherwise this might not make a whole lot of sense at points. Anywho, as I said, 4 major resources you need are Moxfield right here, or Architect. If you like Architect better, I can't say Architect, but if you like it better, use that. I use Moxfield mostly because it's like easier to find the lower price points and things like that. But whatever works for you. Architect kind of looks better, I would say. EDH Rec. Super obvious choice, right? I think anyone that's built commander decks for even like more than a minute probably knows about this. Speaking of which, Scryfall. Another super obvious choice, but we're going to talk about how to use it better. So starting with Moxfield, actually, now that I don't want to, usually I start with the Moxfield, but I already actually set that up. So what I'm going to do is, we're going to look at EDH Rec. Again, I want to do an Abzan, I know that. Usually I suggest actually looking for the theme first, choosing the theme, and then the commander. We're not really doing that, but if you want to go on EDH Rec and just brainstorm, I have a whole series actually on like EDH Rec themes, commanders that are budget and how to build them. If you want to check that out, you can check that out. But yeah, here I've got, you can see, or they've got, I should say, all the different themes. So you can see here like things like artifacts, treasure, tokens, life gain, counters, equipment, aristocrat, wheels, so on, so on, so on. I've covered a lot of these already, so things like sacrifice, aura, spellslinger, aristocrat, equipment. If you're looking for ideas, I've got all of these on the channel already. But yeah, we're actually not doing this, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot more time on that. So what I'm going to do is go to commanders and then go to 3 color, and what I'm doing is Abzan, right? The white, black, green. So I'm going to look at Abzan commanders. I've actually chosen mine already. As I said in the previous video, a lot of times you do choose the commander before the theme. That's okay, but why that commander? If you know why that commander, you probably know what your theme is. Also, probably what a bunch of your sub-themes are. So, again, I am going to go down, and what I decided on was Doran the Siege Tower, okay? He's a Toughness Matters is the main one, and that is what we're building it as. It is a Toughness Matters. And there's a lot of synergy with these other ones here. Tree Folk Kindred, very high toughness, so that'll work great. Finally, Defender, very high toughness, low mana cost. Great value there. Problem is they can't attack, but Is that an advantage for us? Maybe. So let's look at Doran really quickly. He is white, black, green. Only 3 mana for this commander. Great start. He's a 0/5 though. Sounds not good. But just let's wait and see. Each creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. That's huge. And it's huge not just because, like, okay, now your 0/5 is doing 5 damage. That's great, sure. And you can build around it very easily. Also a big benefit, but what does it not say? Creatures you control. It does not say creatures you control. It says each creature. So the whole board, everything on the battlefield is assigning damage equal to its toughness, not its, like, actual power. Power doesn't matter all of a sudden. Like, you've just kind of, like, Thanos snapped power out of the game. Like, what just happened? So all kinds of builds will just, like, really almost stop working. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but, like, a lot of things are going to be like, oh, I can increase the power a lot, and that's what I'm focusing on, and not so much the toughness. So yeah, if they're using equipment that increases the power a whole lot, but not the toughness, okay, well, they've got a problem now. So I do like that. Also, that is 50 cents. That's awesome, right? So we've got Toughness Matters, Tree Folk, and Defenders. Life Gain, you know what? Not going to focus on that, but maybe a bit. Orzhov and Golgari are both pretty good at toughness, or at life gain, so it's a potential sub-theme, but not something we're deciding on right now. So what did I do? I went here and, yeah, I put Doran the Siege Tower. First of all, Abzan. What is Abzan good at? Removal, recursion, and ramp. Ramp kind of just because of the green, but removal and recursion. Yeah, removal is actually pretty good at removal of all kinds. Like, white and black can get rid of creatures very easily. Green is also good at getting rid of enchantments and things like that. So yeah, you've got kind of the full gambit there. Yeah, our keywords, our main theme is Toughness Matters, is number 1. But sub-themes, we've got Tree Folk, Defender, and Defender that can do a whole bunch of damage, but they can't attack. How do we make up for that gap? Fight. We're adding fight, right? Basically more removal. We do like our removal options, that's for sure. And we're going to have things that work off of, like, that ability to just pump out the removal. So yeah. And the next thing I did is I went to the charts here. And just hit print screen, then copy and paste. So yeah, copy and paste, then I just took everything else out of the picture. Yeah, cropped out everything I didn't want. And here you go. We've got our full list. The main thing I want to point out is lands. I feel like this has gotten better, but especially, like, there's one I did a Tivit one, right? He's a 3 mana or 3 color, 6 mana commander. He is very good, but, like, he's Esper, which is not good at ramping, and also 6 mana. So they said 30 lands for him. 30. That's insane. You should never have 30 lands in any commander deck. I think the very bottom floor is like 32. That's like a mono deck that maybe can, like, ramp easily or something. Even 32 is not a good idea. I'm sure a lot of people were already starting to, like, type, like, 32 is garbage or something. And it is. That's fair. Something I saw in the command zone said that 38 is ideal. That's probably more like, I think that I was aiming more to the 34, 36 personally, but 38, if you really want to be hitting all your land drops, is probably the wise choice. Anywho, so that is the basic setup. I'm going to start choosing cards. I'll do that at super speed because you don't need to see every last little bit of that. And then we'll start looking at, once I've got a basic, again, I'm looking to just get the basic list together. I'm not trying to fill every last little card, right? I'm not doing 100 cards. This is the rough draft, I want like 60 to 70 cards, including the lands and mana base sorted out. So that's what I'm going to be doing. One last thing I wanted to point out before I get to the super speed part is that I have actually started this already on. Usually if you want to use EDH Rec, what you're going to do is go here, new deck. I've actually set this up on here already. Doran the Siege Tower. Here you go. And again, I will have this link in the description if you're looking for it. I've actually got a start on it already. I knew what my themes were so I could start planning and putting in some of my key cards. That is really important. Have your like go-to cards. So Morbid Opportunist, every time a creature dies, draw a card once per turn. Once again, this doesn't care whose creature dies. Someone else's or yours or anything on the battlefield goes to the graveyard. Hey, draw a card. Only once per turn though, so pretty good actually. In a Commander game that could be 4 card draws per round. Insane. Trail Tracker Scout. A mana dork that a lot of people don't like. And I think it's actually pretty amazing because it's not like an early game ramp mana dork. This is not that, right? This is not your like 1 green. It does cost 1 and a green, but you can add 1 mana of any color. And whenever you expend 8, which means spend 8 on a spell, not abilities, like I said before, and I was wrong. Return up to 1 target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. That is so much better than just card draw. I heard someone once commented that like expending 8 means you probably won't be doing it until like the end of the game or something. Like, I don't know what meta you're playing in, but like that expend 8 is not a whole lot. Like, I don't often play games where going over 8 means that like the game is just about to end. Yeah. Anyway. Finally, Death Reap Ritual. This is just one. This is a card like everyone should have. 2 black-green for this enchantment. It has Morbid. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, draw a card. Basically, Morbid Opportunist again, but an enchantment, and you can have both of them at the same time. Meaning, you could be drawing 8 cards per round. Anyway, alright. We'll get to the actual building now. Okay, I am going to just start looking at EDH Rec and choosing cards, alright, that fit our themes. Remember, you can click on things like this, and it will actually show you for that particular theme what is good. Something to keep in mind, but yeah, I'm going to go to super speed now, because otherwise this is going to be a 3-hour video and no one's going to want to watch it. So yeah, I'm just going to be choosing those cards that work well for the deck, and yeah. When we get to get my rough draft finished, then we'll jump back and to regular speed. Alright, so I'm going to interrupt the super speed doings because I've come across something that is going to happen. You're going to see like, oh wait, should I be doing this theme as well? As you're going through it. And what I've come across is Saprolings. Quite a few times I've already seen Saprolings, and this is something that makes it really interesting. We got Vardeloth. Verdeloth? Verde is green, right? In French? Anyway. The Ancient. So we got 4 green, 6 costs. I'm avoiding high cost things, both like high dollar cost and high mana cost. So yeah, this is high mana cost. It's only 25 cents though, so the dollar cost is quite low. But this is Kicker X. Yeah, sapling creatures and other tree folk you control get +1/+1. We're doing lots of tree folk already, if you haven't noticed. So that's something that's going to be beneficial, but we can already make Saprolings as well. With the Nemata the Primeval, what is that? Here, yeah, Primeval Warden. So every time a creature's, an opponent's creature dies, it gets exiled instead of going to the graveyard, which totally we'll short fuse those graveyard strategies, and you get to make saplings instead. Just a really awesome effect. It's only 4 for that, actually. That's not bad. But yeah. Here, this is going to make those 1/1 saplings into 2/2s, and can pump out even more of them. So yeah. Again, 6 is a little high, but we're going to have plenty of things to ramp us out in this deck. So yeah, there's another thing we're going to include, and we're going to add this to our list of like sub-themes, basically. Saplings. There's actually a lot of support for saplings. This is something I've been looking at using before, so I'm kind of glad I'm able to squeeze it into the Abzan one here. Okay, so I've got my very rough list done here. What you may have noticed is that I have too many creatures and not enough lands. That's okay. That's something we're going to sort out after we get everything put into Moxfield. The next major step is, yeah, this very rough list that has just over 60 cards, I think, around. I'm going to put that into Moxfield, and then I'm going to have a much easier time evaluating everything and adding to it from there. Alright, now that I've got my whole list there, I am just going to... I copied it off of there and deleted everything that was like all of my headings and stuff like that. Now I'm going to go very simply bulk edit. I believe Architect has a version of this as well. This lets me see everything in a very simple text form. Now I'm going to add all of these. I probably spelled a bunch of things wrong, so I'm going to try and add it, and yeah, then I have to go back and fix whatever I messed up. So hit save. And yeah, okay, as usual, well, I don't know why I always spell Rogue Rouge, but yeah, there's an easy one to fix. And there you go. See, as soon as I correct it, I hit save again, and it disappears from my list. It tells me all the ones I've got wrong, which are, I guess, 8, including the Rogue's Passage. Impressively, I've managed to get 8 wrong. So I'm going to fix those, but I'm not going to make you sit through the whole thing. I will speed it up. Okay, so I finally got that all sorted out. Remember, they're really random about when they use commas or not in the titles. That's one of the things I find most confusing and frustrating. So yeah, if you put a comma or you didn't put a comma, that's maybe the first thing to check. Anywho, so we have a total of 67 cards. About right for the rough draft. It's 2168. Again, I am trying to keep this under 40 for sure. And lower the better. I always try to keep it under 40, under 30 even better. So we'll see. We're at 67 with, what, $8 and some left? I think that's possible anyway. But we've got the main thing, 32 lands only. Yeah, I want to add lands. And I've got 29 creatures. That's actually not too bad. I think, what do we have here? What did it say for creatures? 31 creatures. So yeah, I deleted one creature already that I was not sure about when I was adding it anyway. So yeah, I think it's a good start. Again, we're probably going to take some of these out as we go along, but yeah, for right now, this is a very good start, right? We've got most of our lands that we want all sorted out. We want to keep our eyes open for more lands and things like that. At least two to four more lands is what I want to add. 32 is, it's not great. It's not terrible. It's not great. Again, that's like the bare minimum is 32. 34, 36 is probably where you really want to like start out at, and 38 is like real solid number. Let's take a look at our mana right now. So mana symbols, 25% of all symbols, and yeah, 31% of our non-land cards are white. So again, we have a lot more white than we're generating. It's not too far off. Like 6% isn't like the end of the world kind of thing. 21% and 29% of black. Really, huh? 54% or 66% for a green? That's getting a little much. Not crazy about that, honestly. So yeah. Green, black, I think are the things I want to work on most. But you know what? We're going to worry about that later. It's something to keep in the back of our minds, you know? But we're going to start adding more of these other things. Like, particularly, we've got 0 artifacts so far, right? So what artifacts are we going to use that are going to be real helpful to us? Take a look at that next. So we will, once again, go back to here and utility artifacts. Very important thing to think of. Commander Sphere. A lot of people don't like Commander Sphere. I think paying the 3 and you can just sack it anytime to like get a card draw, that's actually pretty huge. Life Crafter's Bestiary, definitely going to do that as well. So yeah, there's 2 already. Right, not doing that. Actually, what I will do is I will put this, I try to save it, and yeah, in case I need to reference it later. So here we go. Going to changing this to Microsoft Word format just because it's easier or more popular, I guess. But anyway, budget deck tech, and there you go. Doran. I kept calling him Dorian before. I hope I haven't done that in this video, but I probably have. It's Doran, not Dorian. Because why not, right? Alright, so again, this, I said do the instants and sorceries later. Tower defense, +5 for your creatures. This is going to be really huge, especially when we start adding those cards that are going to give us the fight and stuff like that. And that's what we're looking for next, is kind of our sub-theme. Fight sub-theme, we've got like nothing for yet. So the more we can get for that, the more we're going to be set up. And more for like defender and things like that. We've actually got some skulk. This behind the scenes, I should be putting this in decks all the time. Creatures you control have skulk. They can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Again, we care about toughness, not power, right? So we're going to have a lot of high toughness, low power things that are going to do damage according to their toughness. So this is a way of kind of like taking even more advantage of that toughness matters thing. So yeah. Basically, just a whole lot of unblockable we're going to have. Or not maybe unblockable, but certainly evasion. So yeah. And again, maybe I will super speed while I'm looking for artifacts, because that is probably going to be kind of boring as well. But keep in mind, now I'm looking for like my mana filling, getting all my mana things sorted, and gap fill, as well as fight. Fight is, I think, the last thing I need to really focus on. Here I've got almost everything. If you've noticed, I've started actually adding more lands. I've got my enchantments and artifacts sorted out now. I've got a nice balance of all my mana color fixing and things like that, and some utility. Enchantments is almost all utility, right? But anyway, lands. What I'm realizing now is that I've got to go find more good lands, and what I'm missing right now, I could use some more white and black. I got the green filled out nicely, but what I'm missing is white and black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to one of my links here. No. Yeah. Here we go. And all dual land cycles categorized. I'm going to put a link for this because this is so useful. If you're looking for lands or doing anything like that, this is the main thing you got to look for right here. This has really like all the information you're going to need. So again, I am going to these are quite nice. Again, these are expensive though, so we're looking for cheap ones is the tricky bit. But here you can see these DMU duels. Yeah, Dominaria United. These are great because they do have the land types, right? It says island and swamp on it, so a lot of your tutors will let you go get that if it says island or swamp. And yeah, so right there we've got Plain Swamp. Sunlit Marsh is 71 cents. It's one of the more expensive ones, unfortunately, but it is exactly what we need, so I'm going to go put that in. We can take it back out later, worst case scenario. Yeah, Sunlit Marsh. 32 isn't too bad, at least, but okay. The price it shows on here and the price it shows on there is often not the same, so that's something to keep in mind. And we also have these, right? These are, once again, allow you to have the land types listed, and they're pretty cheap. So the snow duels are quite good for that as well. But I'm going to take another look and see how does my production look compared to, so it's still 27, 20, 54. I've actually got, I can use one more maybe duel that has both my land types in it, and so we are going to look at the snow duel. Plain Swamp. It enters the battlefield tapped, so hey, but still, it's a Snowfield Sinkhole, which doesn't look very appealing, but whatever. I can click on the right thing sometimes. There we go. See, 35 lands, that's actually much more reasonable, I think. We're up to 82 cards in total. Again, we still have to do most of our instants and sorceries, so we don't want to go too far ahead on anything, but the last thing I want to check, triomes would be great, but of course real pricey. Artifact duels, not a bad option if you want artifacts. These are a great way to go because they are also indestructible. The artifact lands, the downside is that any removal that hits artifact can take them out. Blah, blah, blah. I can't talk right now. I'm trying to talk too much, I think. Orzhov Basilica is actually pretty tempting, but we're going to go to our where, there you go. Yeah, our dual faced lands. I do love these, and we've got a good number of options. Unfortunately, we can't. Revitalizing Repass is 87 cents. That's actually down a bit. That's tempting. Again, so these are a spell on one side and then a dual land on the other side. So kind of, especially if you can bounce a land back to hand, they become very, very useful. Stump Stomp is actually one of my favorites, but you can't put red in. We don't have red color identity, so we can't do that. Let's see. No. Revitalizing Repast, I think I am going to throw that in. Again, that doesn't really even count as a land, but we're going to count it as a land. again, it's this is one of those decks where one of the downsides is that like your commander is very central to how your deck works, so you're gonna want to have something that can protect your commander at all times. So yeah. Again, this is an instant and a land, so it's kind of nice that we've put our instants off until last. I think I'm happy with that. 36 lands, including this double-sided. You know, again, 38 is, I think, the most ideal, but yeah, definitely not like 32. It says 32 or 30 all the time. 32 is at least in the realm of possibility, but it's still not great. I would not rely on 32. I think 36 is getting more like where you want to be. 34, 36 is usually what I shoot for, at least. But yeah, we are going to do their instants of sorceries next, focusing on fight and focusing on getting our land drops and ramp and things like that. So we've got lots of good options for that. Okay, we're now looking for our instants and sorceries. Again, we've got 83 cards already and $28, but we're going to try and knock that down in a bit. Just wait. Bushwhack is one I know I want to put in, because it is going to be both fight and getting your land drop. So that is everything we want. Also, it's 14 cents. Can't complain about that. So yeah, there we go. And now we're going to go back to here, and we are going to look at some instants and sorceries. Putrefy. That is just so good. Artifact or a creature. Can't be regenerated, and it is 3. It's a little expensive, but oh boy. And Path to Exile, of course. Definitely putting those in. Getting our removal covered is a big one. Okay, so now I'm done step 2. As I said in my other video, my final suggestion was doing the deck building in 3 steps. The first is the rough draft. We did that on the word editor, right? Second step is what I just finished now, filling in kind of the gaps and getting all of our major things taken care of. Step 3, the final step, you might have noticed we haven't used Scryfall yet. That's where this comes in. We are going to go to Scryfall, Advanced Search. So this is a very, very, like, the most useful tool in probably all of Magic right now. Here we're gonna do commander colors, right? This is much more flexible than just choosing colors. So yeah, so anything could possibly go with this color identity. So we are doing, yeah, of course, Abzan, our white, black, green. And the other thing I want to do, I want to keep it budget. So yeah, I'm going to hit $2. And what do I want, though, is the real question. I want to think, what keyword do I want? The first one I'm going to do is actually, I need more fight is what I really want to look for. So yeah. And we are going to have this pretty massive list. This is like really too much. What already stands out to me is one card I did recognize. Dromoka's Command. I didn't think of that. I've covered this one before, and I'm definitely going to put this in, but prevent all damage target instant or sorcery spell would deal this turn. You can use that to save somewhere else too, which is hilarious. And yeah, target player sacrifices an enchantment, very useful. Bit of removal, +1/+1 counter on target creature. Again, it doesn't have to be your creature. Target creature you can control fights target creature you don't control. So yeah, again, you get 2 of these. With the command cycles, you get 2. It's not just a modal where you're choosing 1. You get 2, so it's 2 mana for 2 effects. They're not super flashy effects, but we can use it. So yeah, even we were at 99, that's going to put us at 100. Can I spell Jamocha is the next question. No, I can't. Dromocha. You know, I guess that's actually a name at least, so yeah. Dromocha's command. 17 cents only. Not bad, right? So we've got our 100. This is not our end point though. We are going to refine it. We're going to look at more and more things on this. Using, Scryfall, we're going to really weed out anything that isn't really synergistic and put only the top cards that are going to do a lot, alright? So our first version, we're kind of throwing in anything that we think might be helpful in our first phase. Second phase, adding all those gap fill and things like that. And then third phase, now we are really tightening it up. It's about finding all of those like synergies and just really exploiting it. But the first thing I'm going to do is, because I want to build a budget deck, I am going to go to update to cheapest. So right now it's $34.28. That's not bad, but I bet it could go a lot lower. So let's see how low it can go from $34.28 to $34.23. I'm disappointed by that one. Usually it's like a good $1 or $2 drop, not like a 4-cent drop. That I expected quite a bit more. Even I had a whole build up there that apparently didn't do anything. Split up is over $2 now? Okay, I might actually take that back out. It is very, very good though, but still, yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find something that can do... You know what? No, that's fine. I'll just take it out. We've got other board wipes. We can expel the interlopers. Yeah, I'll do that instead. It is more expensive, but the flexibility is great. Again, I'm going to get this under 30 cents, or 30 cents, $30. Under 30-cent deck would be great. I shouldn't even talk about that, because then people are going to be like, why didn't you do that? Nah. Not throw shade at commenters or anything, but yeah. Anyway. I appreciate comments. I really shouldn't like be talking smack. But anyway. Price. So we're going to sort by price and include extra data price, right? So we can include extra data like mana cost, set symbol. Set symbol, I can't say I've ever cared about that, but mana cost, especially if you're trying to cut down your mana curve, that is a very useful option to have. This is, once again, this is our troubleshooting, right? Troubleshooting, number 1. Number 2, finding our plan, our game plan, right? Looking for those synergies and where we can like maximize it. That is what we're doing now. So here we go. Beast Within, 98 cents. It's so good though. I should move my face out of the way so that... Analyze the Pollen is 38 cents only. It actually went down. That's crazy. Tree of Redemption. I actually just like that because it was a 13 for, yeah. I didn't realize it was that expensive even. So there you go. That's one card I'm taking out, and it puts me under my $30 already. Unstoppable Ash. Any creature that gets blocked gets +5 until end of turn. That's +5 damage in this deck. That is huge. Okay, I'm not taking that out. That is like a super mean trick. Spider Silk Armor. Creatures you control get +0/+1, so +1 damage, and may block as though they had flying. That is so good because first of all, it gives reach, but it doesn't say reach. So anything that counters reach doesn't work on this. That when it has like the effect of the keyword but doesn't say the keyword, that is even better. Actually, I'm gonna make a note of that one as one of my I should order things. Alright. And my son's coming, so I'm going to hit stop. Alright, so as I said, I'm going to get rid of anything that is not really synergistic. This requires a lot more reading. I'm gonna try and make it as as quick as I can, but yeah. I am still gonna focus on the cards that are a bit higher cost, hopefully cutting that down a bit. Definitely not getting rid of Spider Silk Armor. Assault Formation is really good for our defenders. Do we need it though? Again, each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. That's what our commander does. And then, yeah, for 1 green, target creature with the defender can attack as though it didn't have defender. Could be very useful. And we can also buff their toughness, which can be useful. I'm going to say a maybe on that. Do we have any... Wajuka Bog is so useful. 93 cents, though? Access Tunnel. You know what? For only 42, I will keep it. Okay. It goes down after that. Beast Within. We do have Generous Gift as well, which is almost the same, right? It's just like a cheaper version of Beast Within. You know what? Yeah, I will get rid of Beast Within just to find something a little bit cheaper. Also, I want more fight cards, right? We're going to have fight cards that are going to be removal. Beast Within is very flexible removal, but we're going to find something that can hopefully at least give us more fight. Journey of Discovery. I love this card so much. I can't believe I only saw it recently. It's all sold out at my mart in Korea. But yeah, you can go get 2 basic lands, or you can play 2 extra lands on your turn, or both if you pay the Entwine. So you can cast for 6, which is a lot. You can go get 2 basic lands and play 2 extra lands that turn. Whoa. Okay, so I am actually I changed my mind yet again on Wingmantle Champlain, just because, yeah, whenever another creature with Defender enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. So it's not just when it enters, it triggers every time something enters after. That is quite useful. Alright, I'll put that in. I couldn't find the card I was looking for. I know it's a white wall with Defender, but you know what? We've got enough of those. We probably don't have to worry about it. 103 now, so I have too many cards. I'm going to have to cut it down. And very heavily focused on green over the other colors, so if I'm going to cut things, hopefully it will be the green. I'm actually going to close that now, because I feel like I don't really need EDH Rec at this point. Yeah, there you go. And I am going to go back and back. Okay. The one thing I did not really get was my Saprolings. I shouldn't have put S on it. There you go. Alright, and... Wow, Red Cat Badger is quite good. If I had more Saplings reliably, I would definitely want to be able to tap them for a green. That's pretty crazy, actually. Death Mutation, if it wasn't 8 to cast it, you know? But 8 is just a little too high. If I had Proliferate, Despor Thalid, but I do not. Okay. Fungal Plots is actually quite good too, but have enough saplings to make it worthwhile yet. Fungal sprouting would be good if it was about toughness instead of attack. No. Oh, Golgari germination. This actually could be useful. Okay. And we still have so many more to go through. So you know what? This is getting kind of boring. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. And I will go over this, come back and go over this when I have kind of a finalized product. Alright, as I said, we're trying to tighten up everything here. Making it look like a real deck, and make sure it's all everything has synergy, everything has a place, right? And troubleshooting right now. This is big on troubleshooting. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to our mana. So 2.17 with lands, 3.32 without lands. That's not great. I would like that to be lower, but it's reasonable. You know what? We're not playing like a CDH or anything, so that should be okay. And the next thing we're going to look at is the percent of, this is our produced mana versus how much mana symbols there are. So 38 out of 67 non-land cards are green, so 57%, and we produce 49% of our mana is going to be green. That's reasonable. Okay, the number doesn't have to match exactly, right? We have a lot of things that allow us to produce any color of mana and things like that. We also have mana fixing and stuff like that. So I think this is okay. And we have 15 and 18 for black, and then 36 and 34 for white. So we actually can produce more white mana than we need, which is always good to see. But anyway. I am going to add a little more black and green just for safety. I feel like I don't really need it, but we do have one thing I want to point out. Where is that? Oh yeah, we can, this Everbark Shaman, we can tap him and remove a tree folk from your graveyard. Basically exile is what it means. Search your library for up to 2 forest cards, put them into play, tap, then shuffle. Again, it doesn't say basic, right? It just says forest. That's actually pretty huge, right? This is a great way to get some extra value out of our tree folk. So yeah, we are going to look to abuse that, and so what we need is another land that has the forest land type. I think, again, we've got a basic forest, we could do that. And I think we also have, where... Yeah, we've got a Forest Plains for Canopy Vista, but we want to go back to our list of dual lands, and we're going to look at for the snow one. Again, the snow one's cheap. That's why we like it. Forest, not Forest Island, for a Plain Swamp. We don't want that either. Woodland Chasm. Again, we want... Yeah, our black and green. So Woodland Chasm is what we're going to add. And here we go. I can't type the right letter. And okay, my camera froze. Alright, now that my camera is unfrozen, I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, we got Woodland Chasm added here. And I was reading this backwards, of course, because I have to do things wrong when I'm recording. So the mana production is down here. 42% to 57% is listed. That's actually still not bad. Again, with our mana fixing and all the colors things that we can make and stuff like that, it'll do. 18% to 39%. That's actually really good. Black is set. 34% to 34%. Bang on with white. So yeah. Black has maybe more than we need, but you know, it's better safe than sorry. So yeah. This will do, I think. But what we have next, our next problem is 103 cards, right? So we need to get rid of 3 cards and actually know what ones to get rid of. Rasad Yin Bashir. Really nice card, but his main ability is redundant on our commander, and his second ability is only really useful if you can get an initiative. If you can get initiative, he doubles toughness. That's amazing, but I actually thought that he gave initiative. He does not. So yeah, see ya. Removing him first off. Next up, we are going to go to Expel the Interlopers. Really good card. Costs 5 though. Kind of the same as Slaughter the Strong. Maybe a bit better because your creature doesn't have to stay alive for it to work. But anyway. And finally, Putrefy we're going to get rid of because we do have things that can deal with multiple types there. Mostly we've got lots of creature removal. So we're kind of not worried about that. And we've got some other things for, yeah, we can handle artifacts. Yeah. So not too worried about that either. And now we're down to 100 cards and we're at 27.23 price, which is not too bad. I was hoping to get under 25, but that might be pushing it a bit. So what do we need now? Now we're going to look at our game plan, making sure we have our plan set. That's the last thing we really need to do. So we've done the tightening up our synergy and all of that. The first phase of step 3, phase 2, planning, right? So how do we win? What are our win cons? That's really what we ask ourselves. We've got every game. I always think commander damage. This is what I actually want to use, commander damage, and it is fairly well set up for that already. So yeah. And second, we got our kind of just combat damage win con. We've also got a sneaky one. Where did that go? I should be able to find. Oh right, Faith-bound Judge. Again, you can give when he dies, he becomes an aura curse. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a judgment counter on Sinner's Judgment. Then if there are 3 or more judgment counters on it, enchanted player loses the game. So you can just make someone lose the game after 3 turns on this. If you want to add some proliferate to this, you could do it faster. I would not. It seems kind of mean, but anyway, very easy way to get to knock someone out of the game. If someone seems like they're getting way ahead, you could just throw this on them and kind of yeah, they're going to have something to deal with if they don't want to get knocked out. Plus, you're a defender base, right? You're all toughness. That means you can wait them out. So, you shushing out the game is not a problem for you. Anyway, the main thing I'm going to look at though is our main win con that I want to focus on is, well, first of all, commander damage. Secondly, really just attacking. So we've got Stone Skin is a huge one in this because, yeah, plus 10 toughness. That means your commander's going to be doing 15. And then all we need is something where is that now? Fire Shrieker, Double Strike. So your commander's doing 30 right away. There you go. 1 equipment, 1 enchantment, 30 commander damage, 1-shotting anyone. And we can also have something to make it easier. Behind the scenes, right? So creatures you control have Skulk. That means anything with higher attack can't block it. So for your commander, that means anything that has any attack power can't block it. Which is probably going to be like almost everything they have, if not everything they have. So this is just going to like be probably guarantee you're like able to one-shot people. I mean, you do need Fire Shrieker, but still. What we need to do then is get our enchantments, right? Same thing with behind the scenes. Again, it applies to all of your creatures, but we can also like put down something like well, Eland Umbra for 1. What else? This gives, yeah, Spider Silk Armor gives all of your creatures +1 toughness and reach. But not really reach, because it's not called reach, so that, which is again very nice, but yeah. So you can potentially just give, yeah, everyone else, all of your creatures Skulk, and yeah, be able to win that way. But what we want to do is find a way, be able to get those win cons easily, right? So we're going to add some tutors. We're going to add Plea for Guidance. I talked about this one recently. It's only 58 cents. The downside on this one is that it is... Where did it go? I can do alphabetical order, sure. It's 6 mana to cast it. That sounds terrible for a tutor, doesn't it? But it gets things. Yeah, we can, with even just Skulk and like, you know, our Stone Sin, plus pretty much any other kind of bonus, you can at least 2-shot people, if not 1-shot, right? So, not hard to get that last 6 bonus, 6 more, yeah, commander damage in. Even, we've got, what, down here? Right, Belby's Armor. Target creature gets -X+X until end of turn. So if you can put 6 mana into this, tap it, -X+X, there's your +6. There you go, commander damage, done. So anyway, really, yeah, I feel like we've got Analyze the Pollen as another tutor in here. So yeah, we've got, I think, a pretty nice little selection there. I do want to get one more tutor though, so I think I'm going to get Moon. What is that called again? I am Circle of the Moon Druid? No. I can't remember now. I was just looking at it. All right. Moon Blessed Cleric, I remembered immediately once I, yeah, Moon Blessed Cleric. Again, this is only for 1, but hopefully you're only going to need 1. Again, we're up to 102 again, so let's get rid of a couple. What color do we want to cut down on? I guess green is probably the color cut down on. Wall of Blossoms and Wall of Omens are basically the same thing, right? So we're going to get rid of Wall of Blossoms because it's the green one. And, oh, Oathsworn Giant is still in. Huh, okay, I thought I took that out. Probably good I didn't though. So... and still need 1 more gone. Definitely not Lifecrafter's Bestiary. Definitely not Belby's Armor or Boxing Ring. Oh, again, Walking Bulwark is really important because it will, until end of turn, target creature with Defender gains haste, can attack as though it didn't have Defender. So basically, this is something that lets you ignore Defender for a turn. You do have to pay 2 per creature, which is kind of bad. You know what? It'll be worth it. If you need it, it's there. It kind of can surprise people too, so yeah. Again, I need to just do 1 more. No. 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 See, this is where it gets hard because it's like everything seems so important. I really like her and incentivizing attacking others, but you know what? Okay, she doesn't really directly synergize with what we're trying to do, so we'll take her out. Down to 100. There you go. We have our 100 and we have our game plan, right? Really, what we want to do is just outlast everyone. We're going to be tougher than everyone, and that's what we're relying on. We're going to surprise them, at least the first game, by making all of their creatures basically, yeah, not care about toughness or attack power. Only toughness matters all of a sudden, and we are going to corner the market in toughness, and that way we can just beat them down the whole game with toughness. He can outlast others pretty easily. We've got lots of like little life gain things to keep us in the game, and yeah, should be pretty easy to just keep removing things, right? We've got lots of fight, we've got lots of like ways to just keep knocking them down and dealing with problems, and yeah, the whole time they're going to be like scrambling because they've got attack power, probably not as much toughness, so yeah, we're always going to have that advantage. Anyway, that's the plan, so here we go, take it easy.